Okay everyone, this is Leader635 and today I'm going to bring you a really special video on the electronic patrol robot. This is by far one of the most complicated robots I had to go into, and ironically, through the outside it's one of the most basic ones that somebody could ever see, because it doesn't even spin. All it does is just open the chest, walk, and make sound. It's just complicated because of the way it's made, and I just got done restoring the first generation of the Rex, which is this one. And this is the one that I already had. They both have fresh batteries, and I'm going to show what each one can do and how each one was made. First of all, we have these, which this is the first out of the first generation that was made, apparently, because of the fact it has a few things missing that Kevin's did have. Because Kevin's did actually have a screw for the battery cover. This one doesn't seem to have any screw holder. Then in the inside, this one has a circuit board that has a Superman shape, which I actually have depicted here. And Kevin, the one from Kevin pretty much, did have only a little square chip. And believe it or not, it seemed like the way it was made, it was for one of those battery-operated cars or toys that have that little spinning knob that spins super slowly and changes the sounds. Because you could see a little half circle of contacts that's where they cut it, pretty much. Another thing, of course, is that the stickers are a whole lot different, so I think this one may be rarer or not. Maybe earlier, too, because it doesn't really have the classic Rex stickers that they put on later. But as I said, this is the original Toys World version, which was made around 1991 or 1992 and was the first out of the bunch of Rex saga, pretty much, that they made. This one is a whole lot more complicated. The electronics are a whole lot more complex than this one, because this one was made in 1995. And it didn't have a backpack, meaning that it didn't have 3 AA batteries to place, and it doesn't even have buttons at the sides. These are just caps. They are not buttons. So all that this one does pretty much is just light up the gun, light up the chest, and because of a modification that I mentioned earlier, it does light up the back. That's everything it does related to and of course walk and open up the chest and make the classic sounds. And this one has a shorter soundtrack than the other one. This one was the real shit. This one has secondary buttons, has posable fingers, posable hands. You can pose the arms in 2 different ways. You know, it's a whole lot different. And it also has 5 buttons, which trigger 5 different sounds. You have this one. And that is pretty much the static function that it has, where it can actually make those shooting sounds. Now, it has 2 circuits, which one of them is for the sounds, and the other one is for the mechanism and the lights. I've had an issue with that, where for Kevin's, I did not know how the hell the thing was, connected. I did not know how it was connected, and thank goodness right now I know. And it's actually a whole lot more simple than what I thought it was. Because the main positives, you connect them to the relay, the middle portion of the... No, I'm messing up. The main positives, you connect them to the top and the bottom part of the relay for the walking and for the firing function. And the middle one, which would come to be the main negative, pretty much is the Middleton. And there's a blinker before that one, so it makes the lights light up and blink at the same time. There's 2 sets of lights that get triggered. The first one is when it walks, the scope lights up, the top of the head lights up, and the missiles that it's got in the back that are somewhat loose. I don't know why. And then when it stops and it opens up the chest starts lighting up. The machine gun, the tip of here lights up, and the eyes light up. So that's pretty much how it all works. As I've said before, this is basically how it works without a sound. As you guys can see, there's 3 lights lighting up. The scope, the forehead, and the back. Now it stops, and there goes the chest, the tip, and the face. Pretty much. And now here it is with sounds. This is how it works out with the sounds. Now this is how the entire soundtrack for the firing sounds like, pretty much. And that's pretty much where it gets super ear rape. Because when you push the sound button, the secondary sounds, while it's running, basically you're giving another, you're basically energizing a speaker that's already energized, so that's pretty much what happens. So that's basically the first one. As I said, it took me a lot to fix it up. I remade the fingers using 3D printing, and they turned out great, actually. I also remade the handle of the gun, which I put another system where it has 2 pegs that get caught in the thumb. And other than that, all I gotta do yet is the battery cover, so it actually is fully complete in hardware, pretty much. And of course, this is the other one. This is the middle 90s version, pretty much the mid 90s version. That, of course, don't get me wrong, this one is supposed to have this exact same sword but chromed. But this is basically the much more simplified version that does not have the buttons at the sides or anything, and it only uses batteries in the legs. The circuit on this one is a little, it's a whole lot less complicated, but at the same time a little bit crappier, because on this one you have a somewhat high definition of sound and a louder sound chip. On this one you have a sound chip that, if you overpower it, if you put 3 AA batteries, it's going to sound super distorted. Because it's just meant, it's a bitchy-ass sound chip that it's just meant to work with 2 batteries, the 2 that are on the legs, of course. Another difference that this one has that differentiates it from this one is that the back of the legs, where you open it up from, this one just has a little peg that just locks into place, and that's it. If you were to do this, there's no way to lock the cover in place. This one, they took it one step ahead, and they actually put these little locks that what you basically do is you spin the screw, and this little peg right here comes off. It just comes, it goes out, I mean. So when it comes out, it basically, let me just move the damn peg. There we go. What happens is, this goes out like this, and it basically gets, it basically goes into this little slot right here. So that's basically how it works. As I've said before, as this one does not have the backpack, it has the missiles set on the back. Yeah, the main back is where the missiles are at. In this one, you could do that, but as I've said before, the place is being covered up by the 3 AA battery compartment, because underneath this, the details are still there. Everything is there. So if you were to actually, want to modify one of these, you could be able to. Another thing that this one does not have is the blinker. It has the relay, but it doesn't have the blinker. The blinker is basically just a little spinning knob that, like a little plastic knob, which is like an off-centered wheel, pretty much, that makes two tins to touch and, disconnect and connect really quick. That's probably why it has a capacitor in between those two, so that it lasts a bit more. But it's basically this one. This is the blinker, pretty much. When the wheel goes up and it touches this, it just opens up the circuit. As I've said, this is basically the entire circuitry for this one. That's just how far they took it. As I said, this one's a whole lot more simplified, and the lights are actually connected to the speaker. That's everything that I can tell you about. And of course, the steps are a little shorter. It doesn't have that much bass, and even the shooting is not that extended. And I don't even know if it's going to work fine right now because, as I said, this one's bitchy with the relay sometimes, but we hope it works. That's basically the entire soundtrack it has. It's just a little pew at the end, and that's it. It's not like this one that has like that has a little bit more of an extended soundtrack. And I gotta say, thankfully right now, as I'm done with this, I can finally go into Teddy Ruxpin, even though I've already gone into it. And the neck is fine. It's, of course, it broke. There's a piece that broke, but it's made out of a gummy material. I didn't know that. I thought it was just plastic, just like Mickey, pretty much. As I said before, I have this display stand that basically just grabs onto the crotch like any Mars, and this is what happens. The robot doesn't touch the ground. There we go. And of course, another thing that I forgot to mention is how does this entire illusion for the feet work? The robot actually strolls. It's just like any other robot where the feet just, they basically just roll forward. But it actually lifts up the feet. There's like a little knob that also controls a little piece that goes to the ankle piece, which is this one. And it just lifts up the whole foot. In this one, it's not as noticeable as this one. This one's by far one of the most noticeable ones. Like that. And it basically makes it look like if it was actually marching. That's why in the box it always mentions the jumbo marching steps that it has. So what's left to do now? Well, what else than turning them all on at the same fucking time? And for that, I'm actually going to put them at the floor. Okay then, here we go. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video over the two Rexes that I mainly know. I know there's many other versions. There's actually, of course, a version that is a little bit later that has the stickers of this one that looks exactly like this one. Then there's one that has a wire remote and it has red feet, which was the, I think that was the first one that GOLDLOK made, if I'm not wrong. It was, because I know that GOLDLOK did actually make one that looked like this before, because as I said, this is Toys World, okay, the original makers, and then they changed their name to GOLDLOK. GOLDLOK is the latest makers, and that's when they produced this one, and I think this is the confirmed last model they made after they completely shut it down, because of course, it was just too complicated to make. I don't even know how many people had a meltdown over these shits, because they're, as I said, they are a wire mess. They are just a plain wire mess. And I guess that's practically it, so thanks everyone for watching. I'll see you all in the next video, and as I forgot to mention, the only difference some others have is just the stickers. There's one that has purple stickers that was mostly sold at places like Europe, maybe France or something like that, and so on. But I guess it's practically all the information I gotta give about them, so thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.